Hello there, Amy Harrison from Floriculture. Now this is sort of the third part of a little series of florals that I've been doing this week, pretty much with the same flowers. So I thought I'd finish it up with a little Easter treat, seeing it's just 2 weeks away. Yes, believe it or not, Easter is still happening. And it was just something I was looking through in my workroom and came across some bits and pieces that I thought I might show you guys how to make a little Easter basket with some florals and with some natural materials. So my inspiration was this little, almost like a bird's nest really, that I must have constructed some time ago with Doddervine. Now Doddervine is a noxious weed that actually grows in quite a few spots around my area, probably your area too. It grabs onto other trees and it just wiggles its way in and around the branches, and it's actually a green vine when it first is fresh, but after time it goes to this nice rustic dried brown, and it's actually really good for so many things. You can make so many things out of it. Just imagine a strong vine and you can, the world is your oyster, you can make anything out of it. So I had made this into I guess a wreath shape, but it's actually perfect for a little bird's nest basket. So I'm going to be using this for my first bird's nest, together with this gorgeous, my favourite, Spanish moss or old man's beard, because it's just so fun and whimsical. I've got some pine cones that again are from fallen trees or branches that my husband, who is a gardener, has cut for me. And I've still got my florals that I've been using basically all week for various designs. Oops, water's a bit full. And then I've cut from my garden this beautiful hydrangea that's just so lovely and will really pick up on those colours. So, you know, Easter for Australia is in autumn, but for the rest of the world, Easter is in spring, and it does mean rebirth, new life. You know, think of the birds popping out of their eggs. So we can still kind of pretend that we sort of have that kind of Easter too. Why not? Now, they're my florals. Now I've also got, I'm going to do a second basket just in case you don't have a Doddervine vine near you, or you know, you have no idea what it is and what it's going to look like. I've got some other things for you that might fall in and around your street. So this is off a palm tree. I call it sort of palm flowers. So they often have little seeds on them. When the seeds drop off, they're ready to dry basically. And again, you can manipulate this into lots of different shapes. It looks great in tall arrangements as well. You can actually probably make a wreath out of it too to hang up with, to hang up on your wall. But we're going to make another little basket out of this. And this stuff is called pineapple grass. And you can purchase it at your local Bunnings, garden centres. Comes in a bag. You usually use it to fill hanging baskets with, so it looks very bird's nestish to me. That's why I thought I might use it. Again, stuff lying around the house. I haven't bought, besides the flowers during the week, I haven't really bought anything. I've also got my red and white scissors, and I'm going to talk about them in a little bit. I've got some twine for my second bird's nest, and then I've got these, which are just soaking in some water at the moment. And these are actually water vials, plastic water vials, that come when you purchase orchids at the flower markets generally. So I save them all and I soak them in water with a little bit of bleach to get out any old residue, and then I fill them back up again with the water, put the lid on, and they make perfect little vessels for small flowers. So that's actually going to be how my flowers will be drinking water, in these little things. And I forgot to mention, lastly, I picked again from my garden these gorgeous variegated ivy leaves, because I love ivy leaves so much. They are less heart-shaped than your usual green ivy leaves, but so much more interesting. So next time you're out and about in your garden, just have a look around. You never know what takes your eye. That can be your inspiration for your flower arranging for the day. All right, so to get started, I don't need to do much with my first bird's nest. I might just put these to the side for now because it's already pretty much shaped. So I did this when the Doddervine was nice and fresh and easy to manipulate and nice and flexible. So it's already in the desired shape that I want. So next I'm just going to plop in this Spanish moss, old man's beard. I'm just going to nestle it just like the birds would do, I'm assuming. I'm sure that this is how they make their homes and their nests, using ingredients that are found in nature. They're not going to go out and spend much money on their little houses, are they? So that's my little nest. How easy was that? So this could be lovely for a table centerpiece, or just to decorate in your home, or again, you know, if you're not able to see your family and friends for Easter, you could drop this on their doorstep, put some lovely little chocolate eggs in there, and they've got a nice gesture of love from you. So I'm going to fill up some of my water vials, and I'm just going to nestle them in to the Spanish moss. And I thought it might be better to nestle them in first and then place my flowers in rather than the other way around. That one's already done. So I might just sort of try 3 in a small grouping. I'll just show you there. 3 little ones together there, and maybe a small grouping on the other side. Now I've pre-filled some of these water vials to make things a bit faster. Maybe 2. Let's see how we go, because I've also got these pine cones. So I'll show you, often pine cones fall off on their own so you don't have to do anything, but if they're stuck on the branch like this, the best way to get them off is actually twist and pull. Don't worry about using scissors, you'll probably never cut through them anyway. And because there is actually, you know, those little stems sort of go into the pine cone itself. That's how they grow. It's not just by magic. They are attached to something, like we all were once in the beginning. Okay, so I've got 3. I might just place the flowers first and see how they go. So my hydrangea essentially is going to be my focal flower today, because it is so beautiful. Even though it does have a branchy, transitional kind of look about it, it's a lot more interesting on the top than my other flowers that I've got. So if I just pull these 2 apart, I should be able to have 2 separate stems. Now if you wanted to, you could actually combine a few things in this little water vial. A leaf, oops, I might have to give that another cut, a nice sharp cut, so it can fit into the tiny little hole that is the water vial. There we go. You might just have to ease it in. I'll take it out so you can see what I'm actually doing. So I'm just pushing it down into that small hole. If you pierce the hole any larger, if something happens, if it tips over, the water's probably going to run out. So at this stage, the small hole that's in the lid is probably enough. It's probably all that you need. So I'm just going to put, I think, 1 leaf and 1 flower. Do the same maybe on this side. 1 leaf, 1 flower. And there's no real rhyme or rhythm to my arranging here. I might put a 3rd though. That's probably the only rhyme or rhythm that I've got, is that I like to work in 3s. It's the magic number, definitely. 3 creates a lovely triangle which feels sort of balanced and harmonious. Many triangles create a circle, which is what we've actually got here. So if you think of your pizza that we all love, cut them up into lots of triangles and they create the circular form of the pizza. So we've got a nice little trio of hydrangeas here, but we need a little bit of height. So I'm going to create a bit of height with my Statice, and I might use some of these larger leaves. Again, I'll take these out so you can see, maybe not that tall. And you can probably pop a couple of Statice in 1 water vial. They're very thin stems, maybe one shorter than the other. One going one direction, one going the other. My chickens are going bananas. I think hubby's home and he's giving them something interesting to eat. probably just leaves, nothing that interesting. So I might actually lay that so it sits a bit more forward. Now this doesn't have necessarily a base, so you don't want to overload it with things and the Spanish moss just fall through. So be gentle, don't overload your nest, don't overcrowd it, shall I say. Maybe a few of these chrysanthemums. Another little leaf. Oh yeah, those chickens, they're loving life. So I was going to mention that I'm slowly creating a floristry toolkit that will feature your red and white scissors, some good ribbon scissors, twine, paper, some natural ribbons, some wires, some eco-friendly parafilm, quite a few bits and pieces more, some cold glue, basically what you'd need for a little setup so you can actually do floristry from your home. And I'll keep making these tutorials, and you know, if you've got any ideas, please let me know. But it allows you to have the same sort of tools and materials that I'm using. So all you need to do is BYO your own BYO flowers. Now, like I said, I just spent, you know, a little bit of money at Coles purchasing these flowers that are still running, they're still going. That's my jar arrangement there. My flower crown at the back, which is just now drying beautifully. And the rest of the stuff is just from my garden or for going for walks. You know, definitely is encouraged to get out there in nature and go for walks and experience the calm and the quiet that is at the moment. It's really quite lovely out there, especially after rain, which we've had a lot of rain here lately. So the garden is looking beautiful. Everything is looking fresh. And I think I'm just going to put one more little Chrissy combination here. So yeah, that'll become available, well, pretty soon. I've ordered all the stock, getting it delivered, of course. And I will put together the kit, take some photos and price it all up. I think I'm looking at about 50 bucks for the lot. And that should keep you going for a very long time. I've had a lot of my tools really from when I first started. As long as you're cleaning your tools regularly, keeping things like parafilm out of the sun, not near water, you know, you need to have a place for everything, but it doesn't have to be a big place. As long as they're well looked after, they will give you a lot of life. And we'll just tuck this little Chrissy over here. So I think that might be it. I might just see if I can squeeze in this little Statice, because I don't actually want to put any more water vials. Oh, there we go. Squeeze it in there. So then I've got 3 in 1, which again I'm keeping to that little trio of 3 types of 3 flowers, 3 types of flowers and 3 flowers. Although I've got 6 chrysanthemums, but that's okay. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. Looking very festive. Now I don't have any chocolate eggs at the moment. I just couldn't quite bring myself to buy any Easter eggs just yet, because Australia also can be very hot in Easter. So I felt that if I got any now, they could melt. My daughter is too young to really know what they are yet, but she probably would just smash them with her hands. So I'm going to be using pine cones just to sort of bring a little bit of rusticness to the arrangement, a little bit of depth, because everything is of the pale pinkish purple nature. You need a little bit of depth to create interest. Working with a different type of texture also brings forth some contrast, but you know, you can see then there's in and around, there's things happening everywhere, so it really takes your eye on a wonderful journey, and I think I'm very happy with that. And I hope that when you do this yourself or something similar, you'll also be very happy. So I'm going to put that off to the side where I've got space. I might just put it here in the corner. I will take some photos of this, but that's gorgeous. Even I could admit that. I'd love to have that on my table, which I will. So, you know, you might be still planning a small lunch for your family, which will be lovely, but you might as well dress it up and have some fun. You know, I think at this time of crisis, we've got to look on the positive side of things. We're still here, still living our life. Okay, now let's go ahead with this second basket. So again, this is just off a very long palm frond. I'm just going to cut off the smaller pieces rather than use this sort of heavy stem. The smaller pieces of this, I'm going to sort of wrap it around. Now, there's nothing much to entwine it to or into. So this is where your twine will come in handy. I mean, twine is just a great material. It's never ending and really useful for a lot of different designs. And it's the rustic look that I think is very in right now. And the twine's going to blend really well with the colour of this palm flower. If anyone has a better name for it, let me know. Palm flower, palm seeds, palm something. So nice and tight here. I've just wrapped it around a few times and then I'm going to knot it. Okay, cut off the excess. With scissors the cut. Alright, now these little dangly bits. Maybe I can just cut that one that's going to fall off. I don't mind them sort of dangling out. I think that looks quite effective. But now I need to fill it. So I've got this pineapple grass. As I said, it's not terribly cheap, but it does go far. So it is like a filler. So that's just going to sit willy-nilly inside there. And as you sort of place it in, that's where you can kind of stretch it out, manipulate it a little bit. It looks very basket-like, doesn't it? Very nest-like. I mean, maybe if I put this outside, I might get some new friends, some birds. And I actually like how this is sort of dipping forward a little bit. You know, it's kind of coming up at the back here. So I'm going to use that to my advantage and create a little gathering here of flowers. So similarly, I mean, it's going to have the same content, but I'll try and make it look a little different. So I love just being able to go out to the garden and pick what, you know, nature has provided for the day. If you start planting seeds and things like that now, in a few months' time, you'll start to see your benefits, your flowers or your plants starting to grow. And I think that makes, you know, that can make you really happy to see what you can produce in just a short amount of time. We can't all be expert gardeners. I'm definitely not. I leave that to my husband. I like to design and he likes to grow. I like to potter. And I'll just sort of move things because I think, it doesn't look very happy here. Let's try this spot. And then I get in trouble sometimes. Okay, so these are sort of actually covering up that original workmanship that I did with my twine. I could possibly put another little leaf there, but the twine is not very noticeable. And I'm just mixing up the two ivy leaves that I've got. So let's see, do I need one more hydrangea? Now this is off the same plant, but it's just a slightly different colour. That's okay. Let's see if we put three. They're just too beautiful not to use. Now that's actually a bit dirty, so I'm just going to switch it around in my water here. Clean it all up, beautiful. And grab another one of these gorgeous leaves. Okay, I'm going to try and face this one up here. So instead I'm doing a nice little focal area of flowers here because it just sort of felt like that was the spot. I don't know if it's someone telling me to do these things, it's just that I get a feeling for it. The first design I did was more sort of symmetrical, saying that's because the elements are split. They're a little bit more evenly spaced. They're more sort of, you know, split into different sections. Whereas at the moment I'm grouping these, which create a little bit more of a modern contemporary look. Okay, some chrysanthemums again. I can't believe how long these flowers lasted. But they've given me 3 designs. So it's about picking the right kind of flowers too. Roses are lovely, but they don't last very long. So you've got to keep those things in mind. Not all flowers last, you know, a week, but chrysanthemums are a good flower to get. They do last quite a while. Okay, that's going to come up here a little bit. So again, using that height to my advantage, and these little seed legs that are just coming up and rising up a little bit, I'm again using that to help balance my flowers. So it is another fresh day here in Sydney. So I'm wearing my woolies. My friend designed and made this fantastic little hood, which is just the best thing ever. It keeps all the things that you need to keep warm, but it doesn't get in the way of things like a scarf sometimes does. So I'll be sure to put her contact details one day, and you might want to order one yourself. And you know, again, it's a bit festive. And yes, I am wearing some sparkles too, because I read on a Facebook post that Fridays is dress up Friday, fancy dress Friday. So I could have gone a lot more fancy dress. I've got plenty of things to work with, but I thought I'll keep it rather tame and just put some sparkles on, because I think sparkles they just make you feel good when you wear them. Not all the time. Like Elmo says, it's just sometimes sparkles, but why not? It's been quite dull today. Lots of rain. So I did manage to get to the park for a little bit, blow some bubbles with my daughter, who loves that, and that was quite nice just to get a bit of sun on my face. Okay, so the Statice, pop that in, one way, one sort of changing the direction a little bit again, and this can sort of sit. Actually, I think I'm going to group. So if you tend to group things together, it might be nice to continue that theme of grouping flowers together. Alright, how's that looking for you guys? I still will put some pine cones, because I think also the pine cones just hide your the water vials a little bit more too. So again, it's all about the element of disguise. You know how I'm making this, but to an unknown person, they've got no idea, and they just think we magicked it up. Well, we sort of do. So, I mean, you know, I think once you start working with flowers, you never really stop. It really becomes a part of you. And I find that at the moment, I'm wanting to do more and more than I've done ever. Maybe because I'm not working as much myself, but I sort of feel inspired. I feel like I want to reach out to an audience. So I hope that you're enjoying this as much as I am. I don't know if I can put a third one in. Oh yeah, look, we can squeeze one in. There we go. Okay, so I think that is finished. Another gorgeous little bird's nest for Easter or for any occasion. So I've got one here and one here. Well, thanks again guys for joining me. Please subscribe, share your comments, share your images. I'd love to hear from you, and let me know if there's anything more you'd like me to demonstrate. I think next week I'm going to move into a little bit more of the plant sort of stuff, kokodamas, terrariums. So we'll leave the flowers for a moment, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.